Oh hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Traders of this Rim. I'm Trustin. When we last left off, we had Colt and Trustin who had the plague, which was quite an unfortunate event, so it seems like they're going to be down and out for some time. Right here I'm checking on the plague to see how much plague has actually infected this person and how much immunity they've built up. After looking over what they actually have, their immunity versus the plague, I decided to go ahead and let them use regular medicine. Hopefully that will increase their recovery rate. A little later that night, I decided to take a look at our defenses that we've built, and I think about adding more to it. But as I'm checking, I noticed that I don't have enough in storage, which is kind of odd because I thought we built a lot. And as I go to check, I see Trustin just kind of wandering out of bed late at night to deconstruct this wall. So I go into the orders to make sure that he is set up for bed rest. Sure enough he is, so it's kind of weird that he got out of bed in the middle of the night to deconstruct a wall. Later that morning, I check on our rescuee and see how they are doing. It seems like they're recovering quite fine. Once again, I go into the work orders just to make sure that everybody's going to stay on bed rest that needs to be. Later that day, Jenny is tending to Trustin. Xanadu kind of wanders around the world doing what Xanadu do. And I see Xanadu bringing some steel into the storage area. That's pretty awesome. And again, that storage area needs to be redone because that's going to really bother me. Last night as I was looking around, I saw a lynx. I wanted to make sure that lynx was going away so it didn't decide to hunt one of the colonists, as we have a lot that are bedridden right now. And I do realize we're going to need a lot of granite chunks, so I decided to put these on a haul order. I already have a set over there. What I don't realize is that I don't have anywhere for these granite blocks to be hauled to, so they will never be hauled. They will just sit there and be used whenever we need to make more stone. As Jenny's working on the granite stones, I realize that one of the reasons that we don't have any in storage is that, well, they're no longer in a storage area. So I decided to order Jenny to start hauling all of that stuff back into our storage area so they're no longer degrading from being outside. Even though they are under a roof right now, they still happen to be degrading, so as we put them inside, they'll no longer lose durability. I then place a little area right next to our workbench, so that way all of the blocks that we make will be counted as blocks that we have in our inventory. So that way when the colonists do have to rebuild the walls in different areas around the base, they will no longer think we don't have any. So after realizing how many blocks that I do have, I decided to add a second layer on that side and a third layer on this side for our defenses to the south. So that way we don't really have to worry about people trying to break in from the south. I see Jenny hauling back the last bits, and I check on our smoke leaf. I debate on rolling them in smoke leaf joints so that way we could sell them to traders that pass by, but ultimately I decide against it at the moment. We have some other more important things that we need to handle. As Jenny finishes hauling, I'm also a bit concerned about the temperature inside of our kitchen and storage unit. I can't seem to get the storage unit to cool down below 0 degrees Celsius, so therefore nothing in there will freeze. That's something I'm going to have to overcome in the near future. Later that evening, we catch up with Colt, who's just kind of hanging out, and as he's getting ready to go to bed, Trustin needs tending, so Colt is there to handle it since he is on doctor duty. I checked their plague status and it looks like there's quite a bit of immunity that's built up, so as soon as they are immune, they will be able to do work once again. And with that, Trustin is immune. He immediately starts cooking as we are not low on food, but we're getting close to where we need some extra food. After the plague scare and all the worry about that, I decide that it's time to grow some heal root. I check and make sure that this is still fertile area so we are able to grow at a normal rate. And then I lay down a plot for some heal root, not before having Colt cut up all the heal root we have in the area. I check and see what Trustin's doing. Looks like he's going to work on our defenses down south, which is a good thing. Soon after, Jenny joins him, and Colt begins working on our new heal root crop. Before too long, we have some visitors. It only looks like 3. However, it does remind me of an unfortunate event with Muffalos that happened in the previous episode. Later that evening, they finally make it to our base, and Jenny is quick to trade. Let's see if they have anything. After seeing what they have to sell, I debate on getting the penicillin or not. Ultimately, I decided against it. I also take a look at this machine pistol, as it would be really nice to have 3 ranged combatants with our colonists, but again, I don't want to spend that money right now. And with that, it's back to work with Jenny as she continues working on the fortifications to the south. The next day, we catch up with Trustin and Jenny mining out back. We see that our fortifications have been completely built, which is amazing down bottom. I debate on building the 3rd layer, but again decide against it. And this time, I'm going to start working on our defenses to the west. After noticing the minor wrist break, I take a look at Colt to see what's the matter. Turns out he's been hitting on Jenny again, and Jenny does not like that, and in this case, it makes Colt sad. After chuckling to myself for a little bit about Colt's misfortune, I once again take a look at building our defenses to the west. I think right in the middle of this marble pile would be great, and then after thinking about it a few moments, I decide to push it back 1 space. Looks like Jenny really wants these defenses built, so she's already started working on them. I laid down the groundwork for the granite wall, and then I decide that I'm going to put in some steel doors. Spacing the steel doors is not something I'm really great at, so I just kind of slap them down to begin with, and I'll go back and look at them later. And as I'm deciding on where the doors are going to go, we see a group of travelers from Thera passing by. It seems like that colony is sending a lot of people our way, although it hasn't been in a bad way. I decide that I'm going to take a look and see exactly where Thera is. I look around to our immediate. We have the Surgeon's Encampment, which is Godor. We have the Kin League of Sierra up there. We have the people of Bargna there. Jerusalem over there is a broken empire. I have no idea where this Thera camp is. And as I'm searching, we have another quest. This quest looks quite intriguing as Hyperweave is really expensive, quite good material, and Glitter World medicine is the best medicine we can get in the game. But my search continues. Where is Thera? Where are these people? Where are they coming from? As I zoom out, I decide to take a look at the factions themselves and see what color Thera is. Nah, Thera is purple. I accidentally click back to my map and quickly go back to the world. Okay, we have 2 Thera camps that are pretty far away. How do they keep getting to us? A little later that day, I decide to take a look at this quest, Shelter for a Counselor. It says that we have to, once again, Thera is involved, we have to hold someone or host somebody for 8 days and we'll get 11 Glitter World medicine. That's a great trade in my opinion, so we'll be taking that a little bit later. Because I know I want to eventually get this Glitter World medicine, I start thinking about building another room for our visitor. So I measure out the room size for the other ones to make sure it's comparable, throw down some steel walls and a steel door, and we prepare. I am going around checking on all of my colonists, and Colt is over here working on his heel root farm. It looks like they are growing fairly well at 100% growth rate, and they're about 16% grown on the first ones that he planted. That's going to be really useful in the future. Trustin cooks the meals that are needed for the day. Again, I'm worried about the temperature in that room. You see we have a almost decayed or rotten muffalo over there, so he's not going to butcher that. Later that day, Trustin and Jenny are working on building this room. They're about done, and we notice that some Outlanders are fleeing. Why are they fleeing? Why is there fire? What's going on in my world? It looks like the Outlanders from Thera that were over here got involved with a insect nest. I guess when they were passing through, they decided to take the caves to get out of the sun, and the insects did not appreciate that. So we see that one of them had an incendiary launcher, the other one had a knife. As I try to figure out what has actually happened here, I see that the Mega Spider is walking out to the west side and the Spellipede is walking out to the right side. I take this as an opportunity to possibly get rid of my insect problem once and for all. Trustin is my colonist with the highest shooting skill and also has the longest range weapon. So I decided to draft him and take him down south in order to try to rid myself of these insects that have been crawling around this cave. Takes a shot, first one hits, it's awesome, and then a miss. Then another miss. And then, well, Trustin shoots a wall. For having the highest shooting skill, he's not really that great at this. I maneuver him around, try to get some more shots on the Spellipede. He makes another hit and then a few more misses. I don't think this Spellipede has a chance to attack back, so that's really nice. So that means that I can have Trustin work up his shooting skill. And just then a transport pod crashes down with Evan inside. Evan's landed on a lake just north of where we're currently working. And I take a look at his skill set, and it's not too bad. He's got 5 hours to live. He's barely breathing. So ultimately, I think this is a colonist I'm going to want to rescue. The only downfall to Evan is that he's a misogynist, which means that he doesn't like women. Glass is half full, right? So I guess we don't have to worry about him hitting on Jenny. Over here with our other person that is getting healed up, whose name I can't say, so I'm not even going to try, I decide to make another sleeping bed, or sleeping area, and turn it into a medic camp. I use that new I check his skills, see that he's level 7. He's improving quite well, which is great. We just need him to make some of these shots. And then Trustin finally kills that insect he was fighting. As I go over to look for the mega spider, I don't see it anywhere. So I decided to check on Jenny, and well, there's the mega spider attacking Jenny. I send Trustin up for reinforcements, but I'm really unsure what to do. I don't want Jenny to die. I really want to save Evan. I debate on drafting her and causing her to go somewhere, but it looks like she's on the best course right now. And just then, the mega spider loses interest, but that's a great opportunity for me, so now I can take some open shots and hopefully down this mega spider. Finally, Trustin connects. Hey, and it turns out that our other person is actually recovered, so they're trying to make their way off of this map, which is great, so that frees up that area for other things. Meanwhile, Trustin still can't shoot the broadside of a barn, or I guess we should say the broadside of a mega spider. I move him up a bit closer, let him take some more shots. He only has a 6.3% chance to hit it. But eventually I say, you know what, enough's enough. Just get up there and punch it to death. And with that, our mega spider issue comes to an end. Right now we have no additional insects on the map, so let's try to keep it that way. As that person, whose name I'm not going to attempt, tries to get off the map, I go over and check the incendiary launcher, the fine meals, the knives, and the silver, and I unrestrict all that, so that way eventually our colonist, or Xanadu, can come over and haul all this stuff back to our base. I think about rescuing the other person that's injured down there, but they have less than an hour to live. I really don't think we'd make it in time. So I check on Jenny. Turns out she only has a couple bruises, which is awesome. Things could have went south very quickly. After I check on Jenny, I decide to set my restrictions for the kitchen and the butcher area to make sure that meals can only stay in the kitchen and raw food and other things can stay in the butcher area. I don't want to cause cross-contamination with the chance of food poisoning. One thing that's kind of bothering me is I set up, somehow, during that fight, I was kind of panicky, and I set it so that I was always checking room quality. And as I'm trying to figure out how to turn this off, because I don't even know how I turned it on, our relationships with the Broken Empires increased because that person left the map. And now I'll never have to say that name again, or try. Eventually I did figure it out. It's one of the icons down in the bottom right hand corner somehow got clicked. It might have been a hotkey that I pressed, but regardless, I disabled it so now I don't have to worry about it, which is nice. The next morning I'm checking on that incendiary launcher, and we have our new quest, Ship to the Stars. That's our passage off this planet. So I go ahead and jump to the map to see where it's at, and lo and behold, it is way far to the west. Right now, I do not believe our colony could make that type of journey, so I'm not even going to try. Thankfully, we got that quest because it reminded me about this other one, the Shelter for the Counselor. So I do have to figure out a way to get them some kind of room built so that way we could get that glitter world medicine. I really think we're going to need it in the future once we start getting our things to trade. I do take a look at the hyperweave. It is a great material, but I don't think I'll have much use for it at this point. And as I'm checking over the hyperweave, I noticed that Evan's up walking around, which is quite interesting. I didn't even realize that he had joined the colony at this point. So I'm trying to figure out why he's up, why he's walking around, why he's not trying to get healed. But I decided to just focus on building the next room so that way we can have another person come and join us for those 8 days so we can get that glitter world medicine. We've already have most of that wall built, so our defenses should be pretty solid here shortly. And it's at this point when I open up the work tab that I see that Evan is actually on there. So it's like, okay, now I need to build him some kind of accommodations. I need to get him a bed. I need to make sure that he's well cared for. So I see what he's doing. He's going to grab those pants because apparently he doesn't like his cloth pants. Understandable. Cloth is itchy. So I make the bills so that way we have more dusters and more cowboy hats on the way. And I check to make sure we're not using double strand because I did research that. It's apparently pretty valuable and we have a duster made of it. A little while later I decided it's time to get some dressers and end tables to help boost the moods while they're sleeping, while all my colonists are sleeping. And, you know, quite frankly, these guys have been working hard. They deserve some kind of comforts. And I didn't notice, but there was apparently a flash storm going on as we have more fire across the fields. And I also realized that we have the notification that Evan had joined us. The horseshoe pin gets relocated to a more central area. That way we have colonists that aren't trying to play horseshoes over our solar panels. And along with the beds and the end tables and everything else, the other rooms that we just built need to have some lighting. So I build the lighting, I build some conduits to roll down through there, so that way everything is all hooked up to our rather nice electrical system right now. We have a decent electrical system for our type of colony. And as the conduits get put into place, we've got lighting in our guest room, and we have Evan's new room set up. Now you will notice that I put the bed in the wrong location, and I totally forgot about it. But on the bright side, our defenses are kind of built for the west end, so that's really nice. And I realized that Colt is actually going outside to clean, and he's pretty sad. That's because Jenny rejected him twice, very recently. This dude needs to stop hitting on Jenny. But with that, I decide that I don't want him going outside for no reason. So I close up the... I restrict home. I don't close it up. I restrict the home area from the other side of our walls. So that way when Trustin or Jenny or Colt go to clean, or now Evan even, go to clean, they won't go outside our walls to clean. And as I'm doing that, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Please like and subscribe. Please comment down below if you want Evan renamed, or if you have any suggestions or tips. I'm all ears. See you next time.